this modern architecture isn't recognized as being valuable for the country, as being part of its modern heritage, of being part of its great architectural heritage. And there's a lot of ignorance around that, because the memory has been lost. And the people in power today, they don't know even who Vann Molyvann is, who Lu Ban Hap is, who Mam Sopana is. They don't even know that this architecture was built by Khmer architects.
At that time, it was the non-aligned countries. The people in South Asia cannot participate to any Olympic competition. So that the reason why the non-aligned country created these new Asian Games. That is the reason why Cambodia had built also the stadium.
In late 61, Vann Molyvann got a phone call from Sihanouk saying, you have to get the National Sports Complex designed and finished for the Games in November 63. So he set to work, and one night his wife said, he woke up and said, I put the swimming pool here, the grandstand there, the stadium here. So his wife says, that's when I realized that architects, they have a concept that guides the rest of their design. So they worked like mad. They opened the tender documents in early 63, and the building began. Of course, it was race against time. And then Sukarno decided to have the Southeast Asian Games in Jakarta. In November 64, it was inaugurated for the 11th anniversary of independence, and it was estimated that there were about 100,000 people sitting in the stadium because they packed in. And it was absolutely crazy and enthusiastic. In fact, you can see it in the films of the day. And then in 66, Ganefo, which was the Games of the Non-Aligned Forces, which were held here, which was the equivalent of the Southeast Asian Games. And Charles de Gaulle attended those games and made a very important speech here, in which he recognized the incredible achievements of this country after independence in a very short time.
It was not possible in the 60s to think about tourism because that was la guerre froide, the Cold War. China was at war. Cambodia was considered as the only oasis of peace in the region.
Sihanouk was deposed in 70, and then in 75 the Khmer Rouge took over, and they evacuated all the cities of Cambodia, and to do that they of course rounded up people, and actually this place was used as a place to keep people. Hundreds of thousands of people were kept here until they were sent off to the countryside in various directions.
The young do not know anything about the recent past. They have to learn once more. The young think that the Khmer Rouge have destroyed everything. After the Khmer Rouge in 1979, Cambodia was at the level 0. Now the young are starting to learn that they have also something before the Khmer Rouge, and that's also Khmer.
Nhưng bây giờខ្ញុំជឿថាជួនកាលរបស់ខ្លះដែលជាបុរាណហ្នឹងវាមានសុភ័ណ្ឌមកវាល្អដោយឡែកខុសគ្នាអញ្ចឹងណាស់ហើយប៉ុន្តែចិត្តឧទាហរណ៍ថាចិត្តខ្ញុំមិនសិនជាទុកអាហ្នឹងទៅយើងចង់សង់រកកន្លែងផ្សេងសង់ថ្មីប៉ុន្តែអានេះការវិវត្តគេត្រូវតែសង់អានេះសិទ្ធិរបស់គេហើយគេជាម្ចាស់កម្មសិទ្ធិគេគ្រប់គ្រងរបស់គេប៉ុន្តែគេអានគំនិតរបស់យើងគាត់ថាស្រឡាញ់ចង់អាសាទុកប៉ុន្តែយើងមានលទ្ធភាពអីយើងគ្រាន់តែបានតែមានគំនិតហ្នឹងដូច្នេះចិត្តខ្ញុំគ្រាន់តែបានអាសាទុកនៅក្នុងតែផ្ទះកនូអញ្ចឹងប៉ុន្តែតាមពិតចិត្តខ្ញុំឃើញរបស់ហ្នឹងឃើញថាវាល្អហើយវារួចហើយប៉ុន្តែពេលគេត្រូវវិវត្តអញ្ចឹងហើយត្រូវតែវាយចោលហើយសង់ថ្មីដល់សង់ថ្មីអញ្ចឹងទៅដូច្នេះខ្ញុំមានតែបានថាត្រឹមបើចង់រក្សាទុកតែក្នុងផ្ទាំងគំនូរបស់ខ្ញុំហ្នឹង
Well, I think that in a small way, car tours who are promoting knowledge about this, not only to foreigners but also to Cambodians, I think that Darryl and my book also is educating young architects about this subject, and I can see some of them are very enthusiastic about it. So in a small way, we're trying to get the local people involved.
Collect the water from the roof slab to go into the mirror mold around it. You just see, and you can go to see in the corner. You will see one square move around with the running water section.
ក្នុងនាមខ្ញុំជានិស្សិតស្ថាបត្យកម្មជំនាន់ក្រោយខ្ញុំយល់ថាស្ថាបត្យកម្មនៅក្នុងទសវត្សរ៍ទី60គឺជាស្ថាបត្យកម្មមួយដ៏អស្ចារ្យគឺជាយុគសម័យមួយយុគសម័យមាសនៃស្ថាបត្យកម្មខ្មែរដែលតំណាងឲ្យខ្មែរហើយគឺអ្វីដែលបានធ្វើមកហ្នឹងគឺជាខ្មែរខ្លួនឯងដែលបានកែប្រែអំពីបច្ចេកទេសទំនើបនៅដែលបានមកពីអឺរ៉ុបដើម្បីបង្កើតនៅអ្វីដែលជាខ្លួនឯងផ្ទាល់
In 90s, the Paris Peace Agreement took place, elections and so-called democracy were reinstalled in Cambodia. But this democracy is a very corrupt one, and so in the early 2000s, this building and the whole facility, which covers 40 hectares, was sold off to a Taiwanese private company with an under-the-table deal. Nobody really knows what it was about. Officially, it was sold for $36,000 million, in exchange for which the Taiwanese promised to renovate it. So they planted a few flowers and they painted a few walls white. This was their 36,000 million part of the contract.
And as you can see, the canal just to drain out the wastewater, but now they use as a car park, so it's not really small. Okay, here let's see, have the plan for you to see. The black dot
Please
is
come here.
the moat.
Please come here. The mud is right here before. And we are now here. We are now here. Please come here and look. And the mud is all around. But now this part is completely filled in. This one completely filled in. So you can imagine how they release the water from the inside of the Olympic Stadium. But now many problems has been created.
What they really did, which was catastrophic, was that they filled in all the moats, all the water basins and the water treatment station with lousy constructions. And now the building is almost invisible for the city. Because when you drive around the outside of the perimeter, you can't see it anymore from outside.
The investors who come presently are not Khmer, they are Chinese, and there are also some Thai. So they are introducing their own architect, their own way of life. And I am extremely afraid that we will lose the specific character of our town. What is for me the most important is that the young architect who continue to try to build the country, try to go back to learn from the past also